and the war truly begins. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Season 4, Episode 11 of Wakfu. And this is like the part of this three-part finale, the first part of this three-part finale. And like I said last time, I believe that all three of these final parts were released together. Like at the same time, same week and everything, which makes sense. In fact, I think that might have actually been the week I started reacting to the season. But we are only doing this first one, episode 11, today. I'm going to say right off the bat, we're more than likely going to do 12 and 13 together next week. I just didn't want to do all three together. But more than likely, unless anything happens, unless anything changes, we'll do the other two, the final two, next week. So, last time, Kilby made the ultimate sacrifice and gave his life in order to save and empower Yugo, which was an unexpected sacrifice, but a very welcome one, nonetheless. It felt like a perfect conclusion to Kilby's character arc, and I am very satisfied with where that ended. We also have, on top of that, Yugo is in his adult form. He is like fully powered up and has taken the power of the Heliosphere. So he's ready for this war. The question is, who else is going to be coming into it? We know the Sarida Kingdom and Amalia are going to be there. It's unclear if Ava and Tristapin's family are going to join in. Ruel almost certainly is not. And I guess we'll just have to see. At this point, everything's kind of been building up to this. And I'm very curious to see how this closes out with Taras Mordal and his Necrome coming in to take over and absorb all the Wakfu. I also don't know at this point if the goddess is going to actually do anything. Because right now, she's still kind of being, you know, and rightly so, cowardly in this case. She's being an absolute coward. She just is. And it's understandable why, but she's not really helping with anything. Nora, who would have probably been a good help, has been turned to stone. It's hopeful that we can be able to save her. But there's not really enough evidence to say one way or the other yet. It's very unlikely we'll be able to save her brother, though, who he's just going to have to die. I'm very curious to see how this battle is going to go down. Because we know Yugo's going to be the one to take on Taras Mordal, but how is the rest of this going to go? Who's going to take on the dragon? Who's going to take on the brother? Who's also a dragon, but you know what I meant by the dragon, the big lizard. How is all of this going to be organized? Who's going to take on all the armies? It can't just be the Sarida Kingdom. That's the problem. Are we going to have the other kingdoms come in? I mean, there's at least one other that has an alliance with Sarida, and that's, you know, where Armant's wife comes from. I can't think of the name right now. But where she comes from, like, their kingdom will probably help. But it's a matter of whether or not the others will. It's just kind of unclear as to where this is going right now, honestly. But I'm very excited to see how this goes down. It's going to be one hell of a finale, and we're only starting it today, so got a lot more to go. But there's not really much else to say, so we're going to get on with this, and before we do, I do just want to quickly mention that there's a lot of other great content to check out on this channel if you haven't already. Every Monday through Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Mondays, we also do YouTube, or at least YouTube-adjacent reactions. anything that doesn't quite fit into a series or a movie. Basically stuff like shorts and specials and one-offs, and obviously YouTube videos. It's almost always donation rewards from viewers and subscribers like you, but sometimes something else might slip in as well. We also do have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. They're recorded earlier in the week, but they're uploaded on the weekend because that way every day gets to have something going on for it. We're also currently going through a couple different Let's Plays on the channel. Every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday we're playing through Spider-Man 2. And every Saturday we are going through Anno Mutationum. Anno Mutationum is a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. If you want to know how to engage in that, just check out the videos on the channel. Search up the videos on the channel that are titled like PS5 Game Reward Month, and that'll give you all the info you need. That being said, though, we're just going to get on with this and hope for the best with this episode. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction because, yes, we do redirect all reactions on this channel. You know how YouTube's copyright system is. It's terrible. So because of that, just to remain safe, we kind of push all the reactions off to another channel. It's just an easy way to avoid any possible channel strikes or, God forbid, the channel getting terminated. I've actually dealt with that in the past, and I don't want to deal with it again. It's an absolute nightmare. So, because of that, we just take the precautionary measures. On the upside, though, this does mean that all of you, yes, every single one of you, gets to see the full unedited reaction for free. All you have to do is go to the link in the description, click it, and you get access to everything. And that's for every reaction, too. All series, all movies, you get all of it for free, full and unedited. So you get to see just everything. And that's great. I think that's pretty awesome because not every channel here on YouTube is able to get away with doing that for multiple reasons. But that is something that I do pride myself in with this channel. That you all get to see the full unedited reactions for free. And after you watch them, you can come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will not only contain spoilers to the episode, but just my general thoughts as well. And on top of that, just anything I might have to say about the series or even stuff with the channel. It's always worth checking out just to be safe. But all of that once again being said, thank you so much as always for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I think it was a good idea to do this episode separately before the final two, because even though this is technically speaking the start of the war, we even see like Brakmar being devastated and everything, this is at the same time still a little bit of the calm before the storm. Like, I talked about this last time, how the last episode kind of felt like that, and this episode was going to really kickstart everything, and it did. But this was like the final gathering of forces. It's like the war is beginning. It's like just the very start of it. But Yugo is still in the process of gathering his forces. A little later than he would have liked, but what can he do? He didn't really have an option there. He's working the fastest he can. And I'm actually really surprised that we got the entire Brotherhood back together. Because I did not think we were going to get Ruel there. I thought Ruel's story... I believe I said last time that I thought Ruel might be shown one more time, but I didn't think we were going to actually conclude his story this season. And that was going to, like, kind of leave off on what was going to happen with him. But no, he actually is joining in. And we actually do see at least a partial conclusion to his story. he sees the good that his money is doing and decides to let it go. As angry as he is over Arpagon stealing his riches and, spreading it to the people, he chooses to let it go because he genuinely does see the good that it's doing. And instead chooses to start over, to start fresh. But he doesn't do this by reconnecting with her. It's like that bridge is burned. And I think he understands that now. That's not really going to be restored. So instead, he just decides to start fresh completely, and it seems like he's not exactly happiest about it. You see him start to cry even before Yugo gets there. But once he does, it's obvious that he needs something to distract himself from it. And we see the same is true for Tristapin, Ava, and their family. They are just not doing well after Floppin had left with Madagascan. They're in a very just emotionally bad way. And because of that, when Yugo comes and the three of the Eop members of the family think it's, Oripo, they use the opportunity to attack because, they're Eops. That's what they do. And it's a way to get their mind off of their sorrows as well. So they start attacking and aren't really listening to reason because of their emotional states. And of course, Ava has to rein things in. And once she does, and once Yugo tells them everything about what's going on, they're excited for this war because, again, they're Eops. And Ava, of course, knows she has to be involved too and everything. And so they go to the Sarida Kingdom and everyone comes together. And the goddess chooses to refrain from fighting. She basically tells them to their faces that she doesn't think they can do it. She basically tells them to their faces that she does not believe in them. That she believes this is a lost cause. And she even says when she puts up the shield, it's like, I can buy you time, but that's it. She's basically saying, it's like, oh, you're going to die. It's like, I'm proud that you're so brave, but you're going to die. And it's like, the best I can do is buy you a little time before you do. It's like she's just, she has no hope whatsoever and no faith in her children. Or anyone, for that matter. And again, like I said in the reaction, I understand that she's excessively traumatized. This is a real thing that happens. People face excessive trauma, and they believe that the people who gave them that trauma, whether an abusive parent, a spouse, a kidnapper in some cases, stuff like that, they believe that they're untouchable. They believe that they can't do anything against them and that no one can do anything against them. Because of just how they've been put into that situation, and it just they have this hopelessness. Even when someone says, it's like, I'm going to help you get out of this situation, or I'm going to help you fight back against this person, a lot of times they don't believe them. Or they just don't believe it's possible, so they just don't have hope and aren't as cooperative as they need to be. I would suggest checking out this book series called A Child Called It. It's a book series. I believe the author's name is Dave Peltzer. It's I think there's 3 of them, I want to say, but it's a real life story. The author details the real life story that he went through as a kid, growing up in an extremely abusive situation and having to deal with a lot of shit that no kid should have to deal with. And it's a really heartbreaking and hard to read set of stories, so just be prepared for that. And if you've already read them, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. I read these in school. Like, this was school reading for me. That's messed up. But yeah, it's like these stories detail a lot of horrible shit, and it shows how trauma can affect a person and how Dave made a better life for himself, and but how he had to work to come out of that trauma and everything. It's a really deep, emotional, and harsh story, but it's definitely worth the read. Um, but yeah, it's understandable. Like I said, completely understandable that the goddess is this afraid. Like she is extremely traumatized to a point that no one else there can really understand. They haven't been through that. Like she said, they don't know the Necrome like she does. And she's correct on that. But she's also just not willing to even try. Her trauma is so deep. Her lack of faith is so deep that she's not even willing to give it a shot. She's so scared of them that that no matter what, nothing is going to convince her to not run. And you could tell, genuinely does not understand why her children and the others won't leave with her. Why they're choosing to stay and fight against a force that, again, she sees as unstoppable, that she sees as like something that even the gods have no chance against. And like, it's sad that she's in that kind of state, but it's even sadder that she just has no trust or faith in her children here because of the trauma. And she has no trust or faith in anyone here, even herself, and it's extremely sad. But there's not really anything that can be done. It's just that deep that it just can't be like resolved like that. Hell, who knows if she'll, like, at this point she's left, like, will she even find out when they do defeat Taras Mordell and the Necrome? Will she even be able to know that that happened? Will she still be watching to some degree? And if she does watch and she does find out that they win, what's she gonna do afterwards? Is she gonna come back and apologize? Or is she gonna feel like because of the lack of faith and trust she had, she's not worthy to come back and just gonna stay away? A lot of questions kind of are raised here regarding how this is going to end with her. For all we know, this just might be the last we see of her. I don't know. But the fact is, like I said, the war has technically already started. Brakmar has fallen. And now they're going after the Sadida kingdom and the tree. So this is where shit's really about to get going. While the war has already started, this is where we're going to actually get involved in it now. So the next 2 episodes are going to be like the meat of this battle. And because of that, I do really feel like I made the right decision having this episode separated. It just feels like, because of how it was still kind of setting up our armies, it allows us to truly, like, build into it still. And I also do like, and this is going to sound a little weird at first, but pay attention. I like that Armand was angry at Hugo and the Eliotropes. I like that he still showed resentment and hatred even for the fact that this is kind of their fault. And his blame of them is not misguided. And I like this because it doesn't just have Armand like suddenly like 100% on their side. He's siding with them to save the kingdom, but it still shows that he still has that resentment there, and that's realistic. That's believable. He would have that resentment there. He would still have a lot of that distrust. But the fact that he's still willing to fight with them anyways, because he knows that not only his kingdom and people, but the world is at stake. He's choosing to put his resentment aside for the time. Even if this is all their fault, they're still fighting to stop it. And that's enough for him right now. Later down the line, who knows? That can be handled at that point. But for now, he's choosing to fight alongside them because there's a bigger threat and a bigger priority. And I respect him for that. I respect him for continuing to stand his ground on his beliefs and his resentment and everything here. But I also respect that he's choosing to put it aside for the moment for the greater good. And there's also just little things in this that I really enjoyed too, like Ruel hugging Hugo and everything, and being so happy to see him and talking about repaying his debt. And of course, Amalia running to hug Ava because, you know, they're best friends and everything. It's just those little things as well. It's just makes this episode really work. Because it also makes it feel much more final. You know what I mean? Like, it really makes this come across like this is the final season. And I don't know if it is planned to be. I don't know if they're planning on trying to do another. But it really makes it feel like this is the big stand, the big final hurrah for Wakfu. And I could see that being the case. And if they stick this landing, then I'd be okay with this being the final season. Not every show needs to go on forever. As long as the ending is good and wraps things up in a satisfying way, then yeah. I mean, there's going to be some, like, things that just aren't closed out, like the stuff with Floppin and Madagascan. But to be fair, it's like, we don't entirely need closure on that. That's something that can be left open-ended. As long as, like, you know, everything has been handled well, and so far it has been. It's been executed extremely well. But for now, I think I'm just really excited to get to the final two next week. Again, unless anything changes. And I'll let you know if something does, but the plan is to do the final two episodes next week and just kind of go from there. But for now, I do want to real quick mention once again that we have a lot of great content on the channel to check out other than just this. During the week, between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Monday, we even have YouTube or YouTube adjacent reactions. Anything that doesn't quite fit into a full series or a movie reaction. And speaking of the latter, movie reactions are every Saturday and Sunday. I record them earlier in the week, but they're uploaded on the weekend. So a lot to look forward to there. And we also do a couple of Let's Plays. Currently, we are going through on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, Spider-Man 2. Really been enjoying that. And on Saturdays, we've been playing through Anno Mutationum, which is a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. If you wish to know how to engage in donation reward Let's Plays, all you have to do is check out a couple videos on the channel that are both labeled under PS5 Game Reward Month. There should be like 2 videos on the channel for that, and both will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to donate for a game. It's a little different than donating for a series, so just letting you know. But it's completely optional either way. No matter what, you'll get to see all content on the channel. That's never going to be an issue. So, all of that being said, though, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Wakfu Season 4. And obviously, no spoilers for the finale, please. I want to go into this as blind as I can and just see what we have in store as it happens. But all of that being said, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See you all next time.